Hello and welcome to the FP webinar, SharePoint Admin Support. I'm Bill Newton, Marketing Associate, and I'm here with Joe Bohack, our Director of Customer Experience.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
I'm glad you're here, Joe. You can shed a little light on SharePoint Admin Support and what makes it so important. Quality SharePoint admins are hard to come by, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Once you train somebody, they become a target for recruiters, and almost immediately. So it's interesting, right? So it's a complicated technology also. So there's many moving parts within SharePoint, many different user cases and use cases for what you're using it for. And since it's highly customizable, we know that you have to have some experience in quite a different lot of areas, right? So knowing that it has a tight roots in Windows Server technology behind it, behind the scenes, means you got to be looking for somebody pretty well-rounded. Pretty well-rounded.
Yes. So if you look at how difficult it is to find and retain a SharePoint admin, what would the important traits be that a SharePoint admin should possess?
There are quite a few. I would go back to what I was just saying before. Definitely Windows Server experience, knowing Windows 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, 2012 R2, just being able to navigate them, understand how they operate, how they hold up SharePoint from underneath. We're talking IIS, Active Directory, which you know is the backbone to all of your users and groups and everything that goes in there. It actually is the nexus for a lot of what happens on SharePoint, right? So you got to understand Active Directory. You got to understand just simple things like how to deploy your site and get it properly done through DNS and everything else. So there's a lot of things that you have to take care of just on the server level itself. And then you also have SharePoint deployment, configurations, upgrades, just patching, knowing how to make sure that the site is properly architectured, that it's going to actually perform the way you want it to right out of the gate. You don't want to actually have to go back and fix things, right? And in some cases, you're lucky enough to actually be there at the inception, which is great. And sometimes you're not. So you have to know exactly kind of what the architecture looks like. So that's a big deal. Also, another thing about SharePoint is the data. The data is going to be sitting in SQL, right? So the SQL Server and admin experience is really key. Just really being able to understand how to read data logs, how to read log files, how to manage the size of your databases, capping databases or letting the model grow or whatever you want to do. Just having some idea there and being able to run simple queries in SharePoint or in SQL is a really big deal too. So you're going to be able to do all those things. That's being a SQL admin, right? So excellent troubleshooting skills. I know that sounds kind of out of the blue and not very specific, but it is. You need to know exactly how to read ULS logs, look at an event viewer, see what's inside this computer and see what it is, right? What's affecting SharePoint, SQL, where is it coming from, an app server, what's the problem that you're actually having. So just having those, the power of deduction in your back pocket as a person can really help you out a lot. Obviously, web application security and planning, just making sure you're getting rid of the gotchas when you're setting up how secure you want your site to be. So that's a big deal, just through SSLs or whatever you're going to use to actually try to keep it as safe as possible. Another key ingredient to a really good SharePoint admin, in my mind, is that they have some Microsoft certifications. Then we're talking their Microsoft MCSA, so you can understand exactly what goes on in the server, like I was talking about before. That's holding up SharePoint. That's a big deal to understand where everything's coming from. In that being said, as you get those certifications, you'll familiarize yourself with PowerShell and understand how that works. It's a Microsoft tool that's very powerful and can do wonderful things for you. It can help you install SharePoint to actually utilize it to automate long-running operations. It can help with automating installation and configuration of new SharePoint subsites. It's a wonderful tool to troubleshoot with also. And just one more thing is more of a plus is to have some web development in your back pocket, some .NET web application, uh, able to do some sort of configurations or customizations straight through code. That goes a long way. And you can actually use it for third-party software that you install on SharePoint on your server and actually code that to do amazing things. So there's a lot of things that go into being a good SharePoint admin, and these are uh, some of the key things.
That paints a pretty clear picture, and that picture's starting to formulate kind of a job description for me in terms
Okay.
of a SharePoint admin. So I
Yep.
now see, the traits that they should possess. What are some of the job duties that they would encounter?
So job duties that a SharePoint admin will encounter is probably shorter to show you what they don't encounter. Um, so as anybody that's listening right now knows, SharePoint admin often is a jack of many trades. Anything from just the adding of users like we were talking about before with an AD and then getting them into SharePoint, get them in the right users and groups and permissions. And there's so many things that go into that to make sure that you've got a clear line from what you meant to do and what you did. All the way to configuring themes on sites. Out of box. There's a lot of different things you can do inside of SharePoint, right? As you look at this list, I mean, I'm not going to go over all of this because we'd be here till tomorrow. But this is definitely shows you what a day in the life can actually kind of look like for a SharePoint admin.
Yeah, and I do apologize for this text-heavy slide, but it is intentional to show you the kind of that never-ending waterfall of job duties that can fall, like Joe said, in any given day, any given moment, I guess, for a SharePoint admin. Yeah, in a recent article in Inc. magazine, it said its top 3 reasons why companies outsource IT is 1, access to functional expertise, 2, to focus on core competencies, and 3, cost reduction. Joe, what does Fpweb.net do when you're looking at why companies start considering outsourcing options?
Well, we have the absolute support here at Fpweb.net, which is 24/7 access to all those expertises that we talked about before. The reason why that can happen, you could lose your key employee who is your SharePoint admin, or maybe your SharePoint admin's a bit overwhelmed today and needs help, and we need to expand that team. Or the SharePoint admins are doing what they're doing, but there's big projects on the horizon, and you need some help with them. And projects, because we all know that there's not just one project ever. There's usually multiples concurrently going, and everyone needs help, right? So that's where that outsourcing of expertise kind of slips right in and actually can help you out. I mean, at FPWeb, we've been here for 20 years. We've managed over 1.8 billion SharePoint logins. We're the first to host any version of SharePoint in the cloud since its inception, and we're a Microsoft Gold certified partner. So when you look at those kind of things that we bring to the table, I think it's I could see why people are doing it, for sure.
That definitely shows, the access to the expertise,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows that, someone could focus on their core competencies when you talk about freeing them up to innovate. When you start talking about cost reduction, let's take a closer look. If you look at this slide here, you can see that at Fpweb.net, we split our absolute support into 4 levels that we have named after the roles that these levels fill. So you have admin, database, development, and security. Now, the average U.S. salary for a SharePoint admin, according to Indeed.com, is $79,000 a year. And you break that down by the month, and it's $6,583 on your payroll without even counting any benefits. The 24/7 admin plan from Fpweb.net, you get our whole team of SharePoint experts providing 24/7 help desk, emergency break fix, training, tutorials, migrations, upgrades, control patching, backups and restores, consulting, and those never-ending list of projects that you need help with for $3,495 a month. So payroll for one employee was $6,583 a month.
Mm-hmm.
The admin plan for Fpweb.net's absolute support, $3,495 a month. That's 53% of the cost. That's almost half that you've saved.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And if you're a SharePoint admin, and you just think about how helpful it would be to unload some of those headaches, right? To have an assistant right there next to you so you can work on core business, right? So that you can actually work on innovating and expanding everything that's happening in your world. And we know that just bringing on another person is going to be another full-time job, full-time FTE there. So you're talking, half the cost, like you said, to have not just one person, but a whole team of folks that can help you out.
So then as you start expanding your needs,
Mm-hmm.
your wishes, so to speak, do you have a SQL DBA? If not, you can add that part of the absolute support plan, and you get everything that comes with the admin plan. If
Correct.
you need a developer to do code and whatnot, you get everything that comes with the admin plan and the DBA plan,
Mm-hmm.
plus the developer plan. And your savings, the combined savings when compared to the combined payroll, keeps growing. If you look at the fourth plan, the security plan,
Mm-hmm.
you've worked your way up to covering all four of those positions, and you're now saving 68%. You're saving $21,510 a month just from those average combined payrolls. And I'm not talking about benefits yet.
Right.
According to salary.com, if you add the average cost of benefits, those combined savings skyrocket to 77%.
That's very true. That's very true. So, we're not going on vacation either, right? So,
No.
yeah, so we'll always be here. So that's a good thing. So those are some great savings. If you're looking to look more into this, visit us at Fpweb.net/SharePoint and click on the SharePoint support tab to actually get started. You can also contact us at sales@Fpweb.net or call us at 866-780-4678 and ask us to talk to one of our SharePoint experts and use Fpweb.net to unburden your team and innovate.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.